Hello everyone, Diamond Dozen here. Today I have a very special treat for you. I have with me the, I guess, head guy of Undergroundies Entertainment, Aaron Arcand. I don't know if I pronounced that right,
Yeah.
but he is making a game called Trigger Saint, and we're previewing it here today. Hello, Aaron.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm excited for this game.
Well, thanks.
It looks amazing from what I've played so far.
Thank you
The
so
whole
much. That means a lot.
5 minutes. All right. So before I ask you any formal questions,
Yeah.
what can you tell me about Trigger Saint? Like anything to do with like a summary of the story, the art directory?
Basically, the base on the story's still kind of changing. When I first started Trigger Saint, it was originally a survival style game. It wasn't based off combat or anything like that. It was kind of just traveling around, surviving off what you found in bunkers and whatnot.
Okay.
But now it kind of the story has evolved, and now it's based along the lines of a floating city, and it's protected by a group of mystics. The youngest of the mystics, his name is Trigger Saint. He leaves.
Okay.
Yep, he leaves to do some further training on a different area somewhere, different island. And when he comes back, he finds out that a dark portal has been opened, and the six gods of chaos have come through to destroy the floating city. And he also finds out that his mystic brothers are all, dead too. So he wants to swear revenge upon the gods of chaos.
Wow, that is
Yeah, yeah.
that's a story. What was the inspiration behind Trigger Saint?
Uh, the inspiration, I wouldn't say it was. There is any one inspiration or one game that inspired me to make Trigger Saint. It's pretty much based off all the games I played as a kid, all the games I play currently too. When I was a kid, I played a lot of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger,
Okay.
Earthbound, and stuff like that. So with those games as a kid, they really made me feel a unique feeling. Even the characters were so well thought out in those games, and I just wanted to, I've always wanted to make a game, but I've never really been in the position to. So now I feel like I can take all these feelings that I learned from all these games I've played and everything else to put it into this game. And I've also the last few prototypes I've done that weren't for Trigger Saint, but the last few games that were failed projects, they all were kind of like what I wanted to make for Trigger Saint, but I finally learned enough to be able to do what I'm able to do for Trigger Saint. So yeah, go ahead.
Um, is it just you working on your games? Is there anyone else working with Undergroundies Entertainment?
Currently, it's just me. I do all the game design and everything else, the artwork. Stellar Drone is the guy who does the music for the game. He's not really affiliated with Undergroundies or anything like that. He's just a person who puts up free music, and it's free to use in commercial projects. And I've also talked to him about it, so he knows that his music is in Trigger Saint, and he's pretty happy about that too. And I am too. I love the music that I've chosen for
Yeah.
Trigger Saint.
So, how much or how many hours have you put into this game thus far?
Uh, Way too many, honestly. When I first started Trigger Saint, it wasn't called Trigger Saint when I started. It didn't really have a name. But when I started it, it was back in July 15th, 2014. So roughly 170 plus days and 1,000 plus hours so far.
Wow. Wow. So, I can see why. I was on Twitter, because I'm a stalker, and I saw someone gave you money to, put this game on Steam Greenlight, and I can see why they did that now.
Yeah, actually, it was my girlfriend who it was a Christmas present, And she's around me more than anybody else is. She sees how much I spend on my computer all day working on my projects. And I've been talking about how I eventually wanted to get one of my projects on Greenlight, so that was gifted to me, and I was very excited to, because before even Greenlight, Trigger Saint was up on the Game Maker Workshop. I usually put my games on there before, just to build the fan base and everything else. So yeah, it was on there, and I wasn't really, I eventually wanted to get it on Greenlight, but it was kind of, I got to do it earlier than I thought I would, so that was really nice.
Yeah. And I was looking, just for curiosity's sake, it's like, to get on Greenlight, it's like $110 Canadian.
Yeah, it's like, about $100.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was a really, really good Christmas present.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my list of questions on
It's okay,
here.
Take your time.
Okay, let's talk about Underground East Entertainment a little bit more. When was, the actual company, I guess we can call it a company, created?
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it a company. It's more just even the name Undergroundies, it's based off of a company I used to do when I was more into mixing and recording music. It was called Underground Visionaries, and eventually I started doing freelance artwork, and it became Undergroundies, and then as I started working on the games, it just became affiliated with everything else. But it was first created back in January 2013, and that's pretty much the time I got Game Maker. Game Maker is the program I use to make Trigger Saint, and that I've used to make all my other projects. That's when I first started using Game Maker, and when I first started Undergroundies.
Yeah. So, I'm assuming you bought the full version of Game Maker.
When it first came out, I tried the free version, and I was working on a project called Little Fuzz. It was a kind of a side platformer with a little fuzzy guy who could drop bombs, kind of similar to the old Bomberman games.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, those were classic too. But anyway, it's just kind of, after I got the free version, they only let you do so many objects and sprites. So I was kind of like, well, I really want to make this a full game. So I ended up, I think, paying $50 for the standard version. But then later on down the line, they ended up changing it. So that was the free version. Then I had to pay another $50. But anyway, now I have the professional version of Game Maker. So
wow, so that, plus the Greenlight price, you've put a lot into your games. Guys, go to Steam Greenlight right now. Like, don't exit out the video, because we still got a little bit more talking. But go to Greenlight. That's not how you say it. Greenlight, and vote for it. I mean, the art direction. Like, if you're watching the video right now, it's beautiful. Like, it's all handmade, right?
Yeah, it's all handmade. It's originally, when I started, I was using an older version of the Wacom tablets, the drawing tablets.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I've recently actually got to upgrade to my tablet too. So now I'm actually working on a Cintiq, which has the screen on the tablet, which helps. It cuts my workload in half. I can get my stuff done a lot faster that way too. So
you draw everything?
Yes, I draw everything hand drawn.
Wow, you are a fantastic artist.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, like, guys, a lot of work has been put into this game.
Yeah,
a lot.
And another thing too, I think a lot of people really don't know sometimes how much work all these guys who make games are putting into these games. It takes, especially if you're doing the art. Some days I spend just doing art, and it's kind of sad because I don't get to work on any programming for that day or the next couple days. But it gives me a chance to jump around. If I get burned out on one thing, I can go work on another thing, and then bounce around like that. Works really nice.
And especially because it's an indie game too. Like, you're not some big company who has thousands of programmers.
Yeah, it's very hard, and if you have a sick day, then that means that whole day is pretty much no work done on the game, and it's not like you have anybody to call up and help you if you need some help. I've a lot of fans and a lot of people who are really into helping me, giving me input, testing the game. So that helps tremendously.
So, wow, I had a great question. Okay, I'll just go to this one.
It's fine.
Because you put so much work in it, I'm assuming you're not going to have this game for free on Steam.
No.
What do you like eyeballing it? What do you think will be the final price?
Well, when I thought of my first two projects that I released, they both, when I released them, were I think $1.